We out here living, episode 8, hanging out with Leandra, my right hand. How long you been with me now? Not with me, but with us.
It'll be 5 years in June.
5 years in June.
Which is crazy.
So for those of you who don't know, if you deal with me, you probably are dealing with Leandra. Most of the time you know, but if you don't know, you're probably also still dealing with Leandra behind the scenes, particularly even more recently because we're now on what, I think week 3.
Yep.
Where Leandra's trying to take over email management. Y'all are out there, I'm sure, right, entrepreneurs. The first thing that anybody will ever tell you is go find a really good executive assistant because it'll multiply you before you really hire anywhere else. I believe that to a certain extent. I also don't to a certain extent. It really depends on the business, what you do, what you're good at, what your side hustles are, like all of the world of all of that. And I'm not going to get a ton into that today as far as who the right first hire is for an entrepreneur because it's super specific to you as an entrepreneur, what you have going on. But email management was always the one thing I refused to ever give up.
Yep.
Because I just was so active in it.
So active, and you have a very specific way of organizing your emails historically. So I was pretty excited, but also nervous 3 weeks ago when you're like, we're doing it, we're jumping in. But I think we've had a good process so far. It's just been a lot of communication and a lot of, oops, sorry, I'll bring that back.
Yeah, a lot of that. I mean, it's just, for me, it's number one, get rid of the impulse to go in and do things in there. 2, be able to manage and deal with the stress of seeing a lot of things in there that I don't want in there.
Yes.
Right, and being a lot more patient on my end, which has been a good thing. As we know, I'm not a very patient human. I don't even know that I want to ask about the historical journey, right? Maybe I'll just give it real fast. She came and started work for us in HR, ran HR for a long time at Acruity, at City Life. Whenever I launched SteelPoint, she somewhat had come with me. She was already helping me at Acruity when I was running Acruity prior to launching SteelPoint. And so because of these different businesses, it ultimately just made a lot more sense because she was doing HR work for all of them to kind of come aboard and really just kind of come alongside of me, become my executive assistant, really lean into that. You know, I think the big hurdle probably there for her, actually, that'll be my first question to you before I get into what I really want to talk about, is the hurdle around becoming an executive assistant. And the entrepreneurs are sitting there thinking it's the best job in the world because you have the biggest opportunity and see the most and you're most irreplaceable. But most folks, right, particularly someone that maybe is running HR, that then moves to becoming an executive assistant, they oftentimes think it's a significant job reduction and or pay cut, job cut, whatever.
100%.
Where's your head at with that? Because it probably was something you thought a lot about and probably struggled with for a while.
Yeah, it was interesting because especially when I first told people like, I'm moving out of this HR space into being Casey's executive assistant, and people were like, oh, you just want to book meetings and book flights the rest of your life? And I was like, well, obviously you don't know Casey because there's a lot more going on than that. But for me, it was exactly like you said, all of the opportunity. There's so many different businesses going on, helping, participate in the mentorship and coaching you provide, like getting to sit in on 90-day sprints with clients. Like that's a huge opportunity and really enjoy doing that and trying to add value where I can. But I think for me, I think in my general life, I've come a long way of like, I know what I want and I know who I am. And so I don't care what people think about my title on LinkedIn or my pictures on Instagram or like what car I drive. Like I know I'm living my best life right now and like it's the best version of Leandra. So being able to just like lean in and own that this role is so much more than anybody who's not sat in this seat could really realize. And the opportunities that I have to learn and to grow and to partner with you, to partner with Kelsey, to partner with the rest of the team is way more important to me than being chief people officer or head of whatever. You know what I mean?
How do you think mentally, you mentioned how you don't care what people think of you in that case. And I get it, but at the same time you do because we all do.
Right.
It's just a problem that the society has is we all care what other people think.
Yes.
I've spent my entire life trying to convince myself to stop caring what anyone thinks of me. It's hard, but I have done better than most people with that, for sure. How have you been able to create a mindset and be able to do that where it's like, you know what, I am an executive assistant and I'm damn proud of it and I don't care what anybody thinks. How did you ultimately be able to get there mindset-wise to convince yourself that you don't care what other people think?
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be honest, a lot of that was therapy and, going to therapy and really wanting to work on myself and my relationship with myself. For a long time, I was chasing like this career thing. I thought that was, my self-worth was entirely driven to like what I made of my career and how much I gave up for other people. And that's not true. That's not true for anyone. And so when you realize, you get to do the things that you're good at doing, that you enjoy doing, that bring you the opportunities to be around the right people, to be with the right people, to get to see the people you enjoy every day. it's a lot easier to like lay your head down at night and be like, I feel so good about myself and what I'm doing. There's nothing someone else can take away from me in that regard.
What about when I make boneheaded mistakes?
You know what? Actually, I'm glad you asked this because the first time we tried this way back when, I was like 2 years in, I tried to be your executive assistant. And we're like, we'll just stick with HR stuff. But it was like the constant change was like really hard for me. Like the constant like, oh, flip it, flip it, flip it. But something you say has really stuck with me. You always say, I reserve the right to get smarter. And like 9 times out of 10, when you make a new decision, it is because you learned that you were boneheaded the first time. So I respect it. And I really learned to trust that. Like, and that makes it so much easier for me to like stomach that, like, well, here back at square one, because it's like, this is the best decision. This is what's moving forward. And because like, I used to get irked, you know what I mean? And so knowing that and like being able to trust you in that, because like literally every time where we've gone back and started over, done something differently, the outcome has been better and we learned a lot. So that's what I just tell myself.
And I think too, a lot of it is maybe business learns, but also me personally learn, right? Like, not only is the business been on this growth journey, but like I've been on my own journey of like, I was an entrepreneur 7 years ago and I'm 7 years into this. You better believe I don't know what the hell I'm doing most of the time.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like at the end of the day, I do. And I still have learned. And so, but it's like my biggest thing, say it, do it, right? Which is a combination of take massive action. Right. Those things. But it is also, if you say it, do it, right? So say it and do it and move on, but then learn from it is the biggest thing here. People say, well, you've got to see it through. And I agree with that. You've got to see it through, but you've got to see it through to the point where you learn something enough that you need to make a pivot. And
100%.
whenever that is, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be 7 years. I don't know.
And I think that's all about taking accountability for yourself and your actions, right? Like, so say I did it, it was a mistake, but we own it. We do what we can to make it right. And we course correct and we make sure it never happens again. Like we're not doing brain surgery at the end of the day, you know what I mean? But we are, running multiple companies that have people's jobs, people's, homes, people's everything. So being really intentional about what we do and also being, able to say like, hey, we're making this change and here's why, and we own it and we're doing it. I think that makes a world of difference than just 1, doubling down on bad decisions, or 2, blaming it on everybody else but yourself.
There's 2 ways to do it. There's way 1, which we've done both of these, and we've been right and wrong on both of these. And way 1 is where you quickly make a decision and you move forward, but it's like you threw the tape at the wall or the mud at the wall and see if it stuck. It didn't stick and you moved on, but you didn't actually go clean the mud up and take the certain mud off the wall and fix it and actually design whatever it is that you're trying to design. And then there's option B, which is like, we threw the mud at the wall and it didn't totally stick, but we were able to catch it, save it, put it back up and fix it and do all the things we needed to do. And I think the biggest, real difference there is at times when we make change, or I say I want to do something, we pivot this big old thing and then we kind of just let it fall to the wayside, or we let all of the education and what we've learned from the historical stuff fall to the wayside. It's like, hey, we just spent 9 months implementing the software, we're going to throw it away and implement this one. Well, what all did we learn? How can we, all of the things? And I think historically we'd throw that away, which is why I think what you're really good at is capturing. And at a high level, it's easy because we'll sit here and say, hey, just learn from it, right? So everything you do, it's learn from your mistakes. And you could say that, which is cool. And you should, but at the same time, what value proposition can you bring from all of that? And then how do you make sure that it sticks? I think those are 2 of the biggest things that you really help me with, is like when we do make pivots, which are often, whether they're small pivots or big pivots, system pivots, company pivots, all of the things, right? What you do is you kind of create the project plans behind it now to make sure that we're not letting things fall through the cracks, so we can go execute and just continue standing things up and then bring everything old into the new, right? So what is it like being the executive assistant to some dummy that is in 1,000 places every day in his life, worrying about 1 million things, taking on thousands of things, and never saying no? Right? It's a huge problem of mine. Every entrepreneur says, you want to be an entrepreneur, say no more. And I'm like, I do, but I don't.
Right. 100%.
Right? And so just tell us, what does your world look like?
I think 1, I spend probably a lot more time in the calendar than any human would ever desire to, but it's really important because especially as we continue to grow, like you are doing so much, you continue to do so much. And like this, like we being really intentional about what you are doing, but also what you're not doing as well. You know what I mean? Making sure, we're not booking you past, the kids' swim lessons, or we're not making you have to come in on Saturday because you didn't have 30 minutes of thinking time throughout the week, that kind of thing. Even though it still happens, sorry, Kels, but like we try. And then also now, especially that we work so closely together, I have a much better idea of what you're thinking, what's on your mind. Now that I'm in your inbox, I know what you're prioritizing, what you're looking at. And I also have the relationships with the team and spend a lot of time with them to know what they're thinking. So it's very easy for me to like identify maybe like a gap or maybe like a misalignment and then bring it back to you really quickly. And I literally said this on a call with our HR consultants we're working with the other day. I said, let me bring in Casey because he's the like decision and clarity king. Like he will, like this decision's not being made, Casey will help make it. And so that's why I was like, let's just, like, nobody waste any more time on it. Let's let Casey figure out what the root of the issue is and solve it. So I think that's
I'm good in the eye in IDS.
Yeah.
Identify the real issue.
Yes.
Get that shit solved.
But I think that's also a huge thing too, that probably a lot of entrepreneurs, I know a lot of, CEOs and C-level people that I've worked for in the past didn't have that knowledge about themselves. They either thought they knew everything or they didn't trust the team to come up with the solutions. Because you are good at solving the issue and crystal clear about like, this is the thing we're doing, like you're letting the people solve the problem. And like, while it may not be what you have done, in most cases, it's probably pretty good, right? We get the opportunity to make things happen and people feel always feel more bought into decisions that they're a part of. So like, I see part of my job is like making sure everybody understands like that they're part of Casey. Their opinion matters, what they're doing matters. We need to make sure we understand. They need to understand you as much as you need to understand them. And I think it's easy as like, oh, the CEO, that's the CEO, but like we're a team and we're people and like, it's important that everybody kind of keeps that in mind at the end of the day.
For me, there's been this fine line of my role and me as a human, right? So the personal side and the business side of it all. And then you take that and you equate it and create a huge problem of protecting time. And the idea of we're doing so much or I'm doing so much, but everybody is doing it and we all have equal amount of time. But I've always lived in this world of I'm just a human and I'm no better than you. And I always say like, I'm not smarter than pretty much anyone on the team.
Right.
I'm really not. What separates me is my ability to understand the real issue and make decisions and move forward and create clarity, right? And
100%.
be confident around that. The problem is, when you look at the schedule and you see the calendar and then you see like, oh my God, you look at my to-do list, I've still got a million things to do on top of, oh wait, there's literally 2 hours and you have 46 hours of meetings next week and you have 42 hours of work. And you have a family and kids. And what do you want me to do? And so then it gets real. And so how do you think about knowing that I want to be a man of the people and not a man of the people? It's not what I'm saying. I'm not better. I'm not a king. Trying to be a man of the people.
But you want to have time to connect with the team.
I'm just a dude that I want to hang out with a water cooler and talk about football and whatever else. Like, so how do you manage that shit? It's got to be impossible.
It's tough, but I think too, it's a little bit of a journey, right? Like, especially now that I'm really kind of fully plugged into this role, because for a while I've been juggling like a multiple seats kind of thing. So, but being in it now, I think what's important is like getting you out of as many things that really don't need you for the decision, right? Like, because we have the team in place, we have our vision, we have our mission, we have our core values, we have our rocks. Like, there's stuff that like, we know that's the goal. So if you can make a decision to get us there, make it. You know what I mean? As long as you're not going to blow anything up or like really offend anybody, go for it. Like, Casey doesn't need to give you the okay. So trying to remove those roadblocks and creating that time. I also think having our office environment, like our office is wonderful. Down at City Life, the office is great. Acruity's office is great. They have a great remote culture as well. Like, giving people the opportunity to have access to you like that. Like, whether it's just like, come on in and have a coffee, right? Or like,
hey, did we start Health and Wealth, or what are we calling it?
Oh, we're calling it, what is it? Health equals wealth. But I built the school community, coming soon, but we need to schedule the calls. But again, that's been another challenge, right? For the next 3 weeks, you are traveling, you are in quarterly EOS sessions for all your companies. We're filming a bunch of podcasts, we're doing different things. So it's been a little tough to launch. I'm thinking we're going to launch in April.
Okay. Really quick, what we're talking about, just as an idea for your other entrepreneurs, anyone out there running big businesses that are, or running multiple businesses, probably is what I'd say, right? We have an ecosystem, but our ecosystem isn't completely connected, right? Acruity is its own independent company, has its own investors. We have our own capital stack, our own leadership team. Same with City Life, same with SteelPoint, same with Revive. And so they're all different businesses, but they're all connected somehow. Really, the connection is through me at the end of the day in our top team or our ownership structure. And so I really wanted to bring everybody together. Obviously, if you follow me and you listen, we have the school community called the Foundry. We have my inner circle where we're really pouring into everybody at a really close level, and we have one-on-one sprints. But what I wanted to do is make sure that there was an avenue for us to be getting together across all of our companies, and really more around the health and the motivation and the consistency side than it is pure business. And so we're launching essentially idea that the health, what are we calling it?
We're actually calling it One Team Wellness is the community.
One Team Wellness.
Health equals wealth is the call.
Health is what, thank you. Across all of the companies, we're really going to be able to connect and pour into each other, make sure that we're hitting our goals.
Yep.
If we want to be healthy or we want to be wealthy, right? People buying their own real estate, people going to the gym, right? Accountability, all of the things that you need to be doing. Well, we're going to be doing that together as an entire internal company.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to launch that. With that being said, and then obviously with everything we're doing, your job is definitely a connector job, right? Even though it's not business development, it's not forward facing.
Yeah.
But like, you know, what your job is at the end of the day, making sure that whenever I'm asking for business development meetings with investors, whenever I'm asking for business development meetings with other partners inside the company, other investors inside of our businesses, someone on one of our various leadership teams, like your job is ultimately forward facing and to get that set up. What does that look like? How does that work? How do you make that happen? And how are you able to move it around? So like,
so I will say, I think working for you the last almost 5 years has like exponentially made me make decisions faster. Also with that, like I'm naturally a forgetful person. I am naturally like a little bit all over the place. So I've had to really develop systems behind the scenes with how I manage the calendar, how I manage our to-do list, how I keep track of things and reminders to really make sure like it all fits in like a puzzle, right? So it's like understanding these things are going to take a long time, so they should be scheduled first. This is going to take 20 minutes, so this can be scheduled in here. You know, looking at like what are the rocks and like who's going to need what coming down the line. For instance, right before I came down here, looking at your travel schedule, I'm like, all right, what days can I get 4 people in here? You know what I mean? To make things happen for meetings, podcasts, all of that good stuff. So and just like kind of slamming it in. So it's really, it's like a puzzle, but it's like a puzzle where you don't have the picture on the box.
So you get to make your own puzzle.
You get to make your own puzzle. So yeah, and sometimes
you're cutting the pieces. You're cutting the angles.
Exactly. And sometimes I'm like, chef's kiss, masterpiece. And sometimes I'm like, this will have to do.
Yeah. And maybe the last thing is like, and you also are very good at like bringing the information to me to get the decision quickly out of me when I know I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not confident enough to make this decision or comfortable enough to make this decision.
Yep.
I need him to make it, but I know he doesn't care.
Yes.
So like, how do you do that? Because that's an art.
Wait, okay. This is something I really learned. Like you can't, if I come to you and it's like, what flight should you take? Like your head's going to explode. Like that is not what you need to be thinking about. That's not what you want to think about. But I'm like, hey, Case, you're speaking at 2 p.m. in Salt Lake City. I think if you leave 9 a.m. Monday morning, return Monday night, like this is going to be, that's a bad example, but like, you know what I mean? Then you're like, yes, or you're like, no, because I want to do this. I'm like, great. That's like, I uncovered the piece of information that you wanted to have dinner. I never would have found that out. You know what I mean? How do we not ask that? So it's more like, once I've learned to speak Casey is like come to you with a proposed solution or a plan. And if you shit on it, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like that's
getting me to talk because a lot of times a lot of things you're dealing with are all the things that you're dealing with for the reason that I'm not in the first place. I don't want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Coming to you with like, here's the offering.
And feed me first.
Yes. Yeah. Don't ask Casey before lunch. Like always, especially if it's a little bit of bad news, wait till he's eaten. But yeah, just coming with you with something and letting you react rather than making you kind of figure out what I'm even asking, like saves us a ton of time, saves you a ton of pain and heartache, and makes it so we can make a good decision that you feel good about, that I feel good about making for you.
Operation Get Me Off the Computer.
Yep. Operation Get You Off the Computer.
Excited if we ever make that work.
We're that 2026 goal. We've made so much progress. It's actually crazy.
Just need Anthony to start.
We just need Anthony. Anthony, get here.
Yeah.
Get here.
We got another minute or two. Anything you think would be cool if I answered for you and or for the camera?
Yeah, I think one thing is, especially if you're like talking about other entrepreneurs wanting like an executive assistant, like how did you decide like that I was a good executive assistant for you? Like how do you come to that decision, and like what would make you think like, no way, this is not good?
Good question. What I would tell you, what I would tell everyone, I'm not the right person to ask that question. At all, because I think we struggled with it. I mean, literally, I forgot about this, obviously, but you mentioned we tried and failed in once in the past, right? I'm just a very unique human, and I understand and recognize that, not in a good or a bad way. I think everybody can say that about themselves if they want to.
I think especially entrepreneurs, right? Like you're a special breed of human to do this.
I ask my wife, Kelsey, all the time, and we have the debate, am I, whatever, I won't say words or whatever, but I think she thinks I am. My answer to that is a little bit differently. What I would say is I'm such a core value culture fit person, right? And so for me, it's all about trust. And I'm learning even in the business space. I'm done doing business with people I don't trust. Trust is everything to me, more and more now than it ever was. It's always been really important to me. And so for me, like my hire of you was significantly around trust. I trust you with my family. I trust you with my house when I need you there. I trust you on seeing all my shit. I trust you with my problems. And so it was a massive buildup of learning and creating trust between us over the years that allowed me to feel comfortable with hiring you into this role. And it was a massive need that I needed to fill around doing things. And so you're good at the job, right? You're an organized human. You like kind of creating organized structures. You've gotten significantly better at kind of understanding the moods that I'm in and playing off of my mood swings, which took time. So all of it was a lot of trust. You know, people earlier on that are hiring, to me, it's significantly much more about what is their ability to remove things that you need to do from your plate. And again, it still involves trust. But that's the biggest thing in the entire world to me is trust.
100%.
And then skill sets, and you're so different than me, right? Like you're just an incredibly different human to me. And so the combination of being an incredibly different human to me and then I'm trusting you creates a ton of friction in terms of being very different to me, which is good. Because then we're going to get to the best answer a lot of times. But at the same time, you've always understood and recognized, like, I'm here for the madness. So if I'm wrong, just put me in my place. If you don't care, cool, I'm going to do how I want to do it. We can fight, and I will fight you, but I can tell, and I can see the demon in your eyes. You're a high A and a low C. You're a super high independent thinker, and you're a super high driver. Get the hell out of the way when you're in that mood. Like when you're high A, low C, I'm good. Just tell me what to do, boss.
Got
and
it.
You do that right really well. So to me, like, it's about fit. You became a significantly great fit. And I became a good fit for you, I think,
100%.
too.
And that's why it's so easy to accept this role. Like every time I'm out with friends, they're complaining about their job, whatever. I'm like, I'm having the time of my life. Like even when, you know.
It's a mutual trust, but I think too, my mistake that I made along the years is waiting too long and not testing to learn faster what that looked like. Like for me, it was always the hypothesis, I need someone I can significantly trust. And it was waiting to find that person, where I would tell somebody now, start way sooner. Start way sooner learning, even if you understand you don't trust them, have them doing things where you don't need to trust them on. And just taking things off your plate, and then you're learning if you could trust them, and start significantly early on. So that you can get to a point of trust where you can literally be out of your emails, and I trust you with my all of my investors, with all of our employees, with my wife, with my kids, not to do something wrong, but to be able to answer and say, I don't know the answer, or to be able to say, let me ask Casey to answer and say, hey, we're going to move this ball forward, or whatever. The right answer is. I trust that you're not going to put me in a bad situation. You're not going to lie ever, no matter what. You know what you should say. You wouldn't say. In worst case, you say too much, which I'm okay with usually. And it's like, well, we probably shouldn't have said that to that person now, because it's all, like, to me, everything's about framing. You know, all conversations are about relationship sales
100%.
And making sure that they understand the reasons behind why we're saying what we're doing. Because people are scared of the unknown, and people 100%. Have egos, and so you have to conversate the right way when you're dealing with an ego or you're dealing with fear. And it's really important, and I've focused my ass off on that over the last 6 years of how to talk to people with fear or with ego. And you'll learn that, but you're never going to be me when it comes to that, but you know when you're not. And I think all of that is trust, to say you've got to learn early. You got to start significantly early on. I'm a minute late, and so we're going to get rolling. Jake, I appreciate you. Thanks for the question.
Thanks, Case.
We're on to the next. I'm on the next meeting. Appreciate having you. We're going to have another future one too. I think we can add a lot of value as we continue to go here with you coming on here with a lot of the behind the scenes. So appreciate you.
Happy to be here. Boom.
See ya.
Yay.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, run. Hell yeah, run.